Captain Torres said nothing when he entered. The barber was passing his best razors back and forth on a strap. When he recognized the captain, he started to tremble, but the captain paid no attention. Hoping to conceal his emotion, the barber continued sharpening the razor. He tested on the meat of his thumb and held it up to the light. At that moment, Captain Torres took off the bullet-studded belt that his gun holster dangled from. He hung it up on the wall hook and placed his military cap over it. Then he turned to the barber, loosening the knot of his tie.
It's hot as hell. Give me a shave.
The barber estimated a 4-day beard, the 4 days taken up by the latest expedition in search of the troops. The captain's face seemed reddened, burned by the sun. Carefully, the barber began to prepare the soap. He cut off a few slices, dropped them in the cup, mixed a bit of warm water, and began to stir with the brush. Immediately, the foam began to rise.
The other boys in the group should have this much beard too.
Well, we did all right, We got the main ones, we brought back some dead, we got some other ones alive, but pretty soon they'll all be dead.
How many did you catch?
We got 14. We had to go pretty deep in the woods to find them, but we'll get even. Not one of them comes out of this alive.
The captain relaxed into the chair. The barber was undoubtedly upset, but took a sheet out of the drawer anyway to knot around the captain's neck. The captain wouldn't stop talking. He probably thought the barber was in sympathy with his party. The captain closed his eyes with a gesture of fatigue and sat waiting for the cool caress of the soap. The barber had never had him so close. The day the captain ordered the whole town to file into the patio of the school to see the 4 rebels hanging there, the barber came face to face with the captain for an instant. But the sight of the mutilated bodies kept the barber from noticing the face of the man who had directed it all, the face he was now about to take into his hands. It was not an unpleasant face, certainly. And the beard, which made him seem a bit older than he was, didn't suit him badly at all. His name was Torres, Captain Torres, a man of imagination, because who else would have thought of hanging the naked rebels and then holding target practice on certain parts of their bodies? He began to apply the first layer of soap.
Without any effort, I could go straight to sleep, but there's plenty to do this afternoon.
Like what? Firing squad?
Something like that, but a little slower.
The barber got on with the job of lathering his beard. His band started trembling again. The captain could not possibly realize it, and this was in his favor. But he would have preferred that he hadn't come. It was likely that many of the barber's faction had seen him enter, and an enemy under one's roof imposes certain conditions. He would be obliged to shave that beard like any other one, carefully, gently, like that of any customer, taking pains to see that no single pore emitted a drop of blood, being careful to see that the little tufts of hair did not lead the blade astray, seeing that his skin ended up clean, soft, and healthy, so that passing the back of his hand over it, he couldn't feel a hair. Yes, the barber was secretly a rebel, but he was also a conscientious barber, and proud of the preciseness of his profession. And his 4 days' growth of beard was a fitting challenge. He took the razor, opened up the 2 protective arms, exposed the blade, and began the job from one of the sideburns down. The razor responded beautifully. His beard was inflexible and hard, not too long, but thick. Bit by bit, the skin emerged. The razor rasped along, making his customary sounds as fluffs of lather mixed with bits of hair gathered along the blade. He paused a moment to clean it, then took up the strop again to sharpen the razor, because he's a barber who does things properly. The captain, who kept his eyes closed, opened them now, removed one of his hands from under the sheet, felt the spot on his face where the soap had been cleared off.
You know what? Come to the school today at 6 o'clock.
Same thing as the other day?
It could be better.
What do you plan to do?
I don't know yet, but we'll amuse ourselves.
Do you plan to punish them all?
All.
The soap was drying on the captain's face, and the barber knew he had to hurry. He looked in the mirror towards the street. was the same as ever. Grocery store with 200 customers in it. He glanced at the clock. 2:20 in the afternoon. He continued shaving the captain's sideburn, a thick blue beard. The captain should have let it grow like some poets and priests do, but it suited him well. A lot of people wouldn't recognize him, much to his benefit, the barber thought, as he attempted to cover the neck area smoothly. There, for sure, the razor had to be handled masterfully, since the hair, although softer, grew into little swirls. A curly beard, one of the tiny pores can open up and issue forth its pearl of blood. A good barber such as him prides himself on never allowing this to happen to a client. And this was a first-class client. How many of the rebels had the captain ordered shot? How many did he order to be mutilated? The captain didn't know that the barber was his enemy. It was a shared secret by very few, precisely so the barber could spy on the captain for the revolutionaries. The beard was now almost completely gone. The captain seemed younger, less burdened by years than when he arrived. Under the stroke of the barber's razor, Torres was being rejuvenated because he was a good barber, the best in town. A little more lather here, under the captain's chin, on his Adam's apple, on this big vein. Both men were sweating. It was hot outside. The captain was not afraid. He's a calm man who's not even thinking about what he will do with the prisoners this afternoon. The barber thought to himself how easy it would be to kill the captain in this moment. He could cut his throat just so. Zip, zip. The captain wouldn't even have time to complain. Out of his neck, a gush of blood would spout onto the sheet, on the chair, on my hands, on the floor. The blood would keep inching along the floor, warm, ineradicable, uncontainable, until it reached the street like a scarlet stream. He knew that one solid stroke, one deep incision, would prevent any pain. The captain wouldn't suffer, but what would the barber do with the body? On one hand, the barber would be called a coward for killing a man when he didn't expect it, but on the other, he would be remembered as the avenger for the rebels. He was a town barber. No one knew he was a rebel. And what of all of this? Murder or hero? The barber's destiny depended on the edge of this blade. He could turn his hand a bit more, press a little harder on the razor, and sink it in. The skin would give way like silk, like rubber, like the strap. There's nothing more tender than human skin, and the blood is always there, ready to pour forth. A blade like this doesn't fail. But the barber doesn't want to be a murderer. No, sir. The captain came for a shave, and the barber doesn't want blood on his hands. Just lather. That's all. The captain is the executioner. Each person has his own place in the scheme of things. Finally, the captain's chin had been stroked clean and smooth. The man sat up and looked in the mirror. He rubbed his hands over his skin and felt it fresh, like new.
Oh, thanks. I feel so much better. You know, they told me you'd kill me. I came to find out, but killing isn't easy. I know that.